dokie. All right, we are live and in effect. Welcome,
All
welcome,
right.
welcome to the Remedy Report, y'all. This is your host, Giselle the She-Boss, also known as Boss Selena. All right, and today I have the infamous Tobias Bay in the building. One time, gotta raise the roof. I'm so excited. Tobias is here representing the Nomadic Elevation Group. And today we're gonna be talking about some of my favorite topics: business, bonding, insurance, notary services, business trust, and some other creative financial strategies as well. And if time provides, we might get a little deeper into some other subjects. So, Tobias, before we get started in the topics that we're discussing today, I'm just going to give you the floor and give you the opportunity to kind of introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about where you're from, your upbringing a little bit. Give us a little back history on how you kind of came up, a little bit about your life, and how you actually end up getting started in the business lane.
I started in the business lane. I'm from Sacramento, California, to start there. Grew up in a good family, 4 brothers, 4 sisters. It was 8 of us total, I should say. My oldest brother was the one who kind of introduced me to business. That's my partner. We hustle together, been hustling since I was 16 years old. And he was in Citigroup, Travelers, Prime America, stuff like that. So I used to tag along with him in high school, kept me out of trouble, kept me off the street. And I ended up getting a financial education starting there. We then bought our first home. I think I was 20, 21. We bought our first home in Oak Park, California. And we flipped that. And then we ended up getting into real estate. And I got my notary license at the same time. And a gentleman named Isaiah Brown, I was working at a school and I helped start a emotionally disturbed program for children. It was one of the first classrooms in a Grant School District. And he was a substitute teacher, went to the wrong school. And I taught the class that day. And he liked the way that I work with the kids and everything. And asked me, did I know anything? He saw I was studying to become a notary. This is aside from the real estate stuff.
Okay.
He decided to take me out and ask me, did I know what loan signings and stuff were? And I was like, nah, but he said, well, give me a call when you get your notary license. So he actually took me out and trained me. I made, I think, like $3,000 my first month, and it was on from there. He actually told me how to set up the business and everything. So I was doing that, real estate and going to school, and it took off. And I've been doing like the notary and the business thing ever since. And it's kind of grown and blossomed. And I've learned a lot over the years, along with my brother. We still to this day study. That's why I get into like securities and PPMs and stuff, which we'll talk about after the notary stuff. It's a great way to generate income, so you can get into some other stuff. Solid business. So I did music. I've had like a wealth of stuff that I've done. So as we go along, if I can remember stuff and it relates, I'll say it. But yeah, I had a pretty dope life. I got good people around me.
So let me ask you about the real estate. Now, when you say you got your first house at 20 or 21, did you buy a personal house, or was this a purchase for a business, or through a business? Was it a fix and flip? Give us a little bit of information, like details about how did you get into real estate, and what lane of real estate did you actually pursue?
Well, my pops did remodels. So we were across the street remodeling the house, and a gentleman pulled up. He was having I don't know if anybody knows where Oak Park is. If you guys listen to rap music, Mozzie's represents Oak Park heavy. It's not the type of area where you drop off refrigerators and stuff to have installed. So he actually came down and the limo pulled up, and they were stealing his stuff. As soon as the delivery dude left, they were stealing all the refrigerators and the dishwashers and the flooring and everything. And he asked us, did we want to buy the property? And my brother said, yeah. And we went in from there. So my dad he's done that for years. That was kind of his business that he did. He's always been in the business. So I guess it comes from my dad as well.
Okay. So you and your brother kind of joined in with your dad, or following your dad's footsteps in the real estate. And when y'all got that first house, did you how did that go? Did you rent it out? What did you do with it?
We did everything with it. That was when the market was going up. So I think we got it for like $52,000. It had double and triple. This is when that first run started. And I think the early 2000s, where the real estate just started shooting up. And man, that kind of supplied us going to get more real estate. So we were refinancing that and then going to get another property and then playing it back and forth. And it was paying off on our credit. So it looked like we had a bunch of houses paid off on our credit, because we were refinancing and we were using that with the business credit.
Okay. So when y'all purchased that first property, you purchased it through a business, or did y'all do did you purchase it in your personal identity? Did you eventually transfer it over to a business, or how did you how did you get into the business of real estate once you got that first house?
We didn't know about that necessarily when we first started. I learned about that after I met G Boogie. I'm a part of G Boogie America. You guys can go look that up. That's where I learned my business credit information at. And he kind of enlightened us on, putting stuff in trust and using it for business credit and leverage. So I learned a lot with him too. I just talked to him the other day, as a matter of fact. When you look the dude up, he's gonna look like a regular dude. He's it was a trip meeting him, because my brother was like, it's this dude with some gold teeth from New York on here giving away the game. And I was like, man, I looked at the picture. He had a white tee on, and I was like, man, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, wait a minute. He's telling you how to do it for free, because we were paying, to go to all of these the Mylans and all
seminars
that
and stuff.
Seminars, and he was giving it away for free right on there. So I hit him up and he hit me back, and he scooped me up. And that's a whole nother show. We can talk about the G Boogie, that experience. But
so
that's really, yeah, we started a whole thing.
And
So
is
a
that
lot of
what
the
you learned
information,
business? I'm sorry, is that what you learned or learned about business credit and personal credit from him?
yeah,
Okay.
we were kind of already on track because we were doing personal credit repair already. But he took it to another level. Like he put it all together for us and showed us like how it worked because he had been doing it for years. So a lot of my successes to him too. Like I said, I've had good people around me. I don't know who's blessing me, but I hope they keep the blessings coming.
So, okay, let me ask you something. What can you tell us about what you learned about how to leverage your personal and business credit in some of your business dealings, as far as like,
Oh,
using it to purchase assets and things of that nature, or like when your credit drops, you know what I'm saying? How do you get your credit back in good standing so that you're able to keep going and purchasing new assets? Because I know like when you apply for stuff, your credit score can go up and down. So I know some people are not, familiar with how that works. Tell us a little bit about that.
yeah. Anything good or bad that hit your credit is going to affect it. To
Hmm.
start there, just so people understand that. But I'll take you through. I call it the Trinity. This is like our little program that we have, and I like to teach people because I don't know where people are at. I teach them like
Hmm.
you were off the couch. So the first thing I focus on is the personal credit. So a lot of people have never read the FDCPA and the FCRA, the Telephone Collections Practices Act. It's a lot of consumer laws that people aren't familiar with. I know everybody likes to talk about UCCs and stuff, and the personal credit stuff is basic. But even if you want to go do other stuff, start with your personal credit, and because you can get paid cleaning it up. Now,
Hmm.
my personal way that I do it, and everybody has a different way, I use the consumer laws to my advantage, and I do the administrative process with it. So it's not up to you to break down the exact thing, but my letters are really simple. So I just encompass the whole FCRA, the FDCPA, and I send the letters off. It's up to them to understand whether they're violating it or not. But my main thing that I'm trying to get is I purchase debt. So inside of the contract, I wait for it to get assigned, like when they charge it off. So
Hmm.
you can get the charge off because now it's no longer accurate. That's easy work. But you want to get the servicer off or the third party debt collector, they have to provide that contract. When they buy the debt, they have what they call media, and media is like your statements, your contracts, whatever you got. A lot of them don't have the complete media, but
Right.
the contract says, I call it, to explain it simply, it's like buying a used car. When you buy a used car, you can't come take the car back when it's broke down.
Right.
So the original creditor does the same thing. When you buy it, they can't verify or validate the debt is accurate. It's boom, that's it. Well, under the Gramm-Leach-Bailey Act, you have to give your express written consent, and it's in the consumer laws as well, the FDCPA, for somebody to have your non-private public information. That's the Gramm-Leach-Bailey Act.
Hmm.
So if I didn't give you specifically the express written consent to have my information, my personal information, my name, social address, et cetera, then you're violating that law. So when you get the contract and it's worded different, you got to read the whole contract, but it's always in there, that little clause. That's what you're really after. So you do your little administrative process and you can put in all the other stuff that you want. I keep it simple because I know that's what I'm after. And then
Hmm.
I get them in the court, and that's what I'm attacking. Because if you can't provide that, then that is identity theft. And we came up with the whole, they call it credit sweep and stuff now. That came from us at G Boogie America. And you can go back and check that. That you can actually press charges. That's literally identity theft. So that's how I kind of light a fire. Like everybody goes and does the police report and everything, but the part that they skipped over when we first released the process is doing that administrative process. You got to do your first letter, your second letter, your third letter, default, and then you got to do your notice of intent to sue, and then go file your case. That's how you're gonna make your money in small claims court. In small claims court, you don't got to deal with no attorneys. So you get them in there, and then that's your little seed money to start your business. So you're gonna get it off your credit, and you're gonna make, in California, it's up to $10,000. So, and another thing that people skip is I'll go and apply for something that I know I'm not gonna get. I'll go and apply for a house or something because that's how you get around Rule 12b-6, where you got to have something that relief can be granted. And I'm
Hmm.
paraphrasing, but now I
Hmm.
got some damages. You see what I'm saying? So you stop me from doing that. So what up? So what you gonna do?
Wait a
You know
minute
what I'm
now.
saying?
Hold up. You can't slide by that one because I got so many denials. Now. I got them all. I got a whole folder of denials. I've been trying to figure out because I know there's something to leverage there, but I don't necessarily know how to structure. You know what I'm saying? Like leveraging that, or like you said, how can I use that to my benefit? So let me ask you this. Let me just clarify. Do you help people clean credit, or is this something that you teach people how to do? Is there like, or do you like, is there? Because I know you said you have like 3 basic um letters that you use when you're first starting your administration process. So do you help people with that? Like if they're struggling with cleaning their credit?
I do, and I do. I have a credit business, but I kind of slowed down on it because the other stuff
Mhm.
is picking up with the
Mhm.
PPMs and stuff. It gets busy.
Okay.
So helping people clean their credit is something that I used to do, and I still kind of do it, but I'm not promoting it, if you know what I mean.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Well, maybe you can help me clean mine
I
on
got you.
personally, and then I'll come back with the results. You know what I'm saying, for everybody, and let them know how we improved my credit score, because I don't really use my personal, of course, but I know for business purposes I do need to get it, in better standing. So I'm definitely interested in that, and I also, I know that some people actually use consumer laws to, like you said, get paid when they're disputing these credits, and they're like using that as a whole business service. So what are some of the consistent, I guess, things that people could get paid for, or what are certain violations on the credit report that you see consistently or repeatedly that are just kind of like easy wins? And is that a 1, 2, 3 step strategy or process, just like the administrative service when you're sending in the letters, or is it a little bit more tedious or in depth when it comes to that part?
It's several things on there. They don't report accurate. when you do the charge off and they leave it on and it's not accurate, you can use the FCRA because your credit report has to be 100% accurate the whole time.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we can go, it's a rabbit hole of stuff that we can do. If you want to do a separate show just on that, we can get deep into the codes
Well,
and all of that.
not super duper, but just tell me like maybe 2 or 3 things that are consistent that okay, boom, this is almost a guaranteed. Let's say, is it like $1,000 per violation or something to that effect? From what I'm
Yeah, you got
understanding.
to look at 1692K for the violations. And then a big one that I see is false and deceptive business practices. So they'll make it seem like they're AT&T, for instance, and they're not. That's like a big one that I see, or they'll make it seem like that they're the original creditor. I'll say it like that.
Okay, I got you.
That's a huge